Story 1. The Haunted Park. I had been a dog walker for years, and I thought I had seen it all until one fateful evening. I was walking Bella, a spirited golden retriever, in our local park just as the sun was setting. The park was usually peaceful, but that night an eerie mist began to creep in. As Bella and I strolled along the dimly lit path, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Bella, normally exuberant, began growling lowly, her fur bristling. I scanned the surroundings but saw nothing unusual. Then a chilling, childlike giggle echoed through the mist. Panic set in as I quickened my pace, urging Bella to follow. The giggles continued, growing louder and closer. Suddenly, a shadowy figure emerged from the mist, a child no older than 8, dressed in tattered clothing. But their eyes, oh, those eyes were pitch-black voids that seemed to suck the light from the world. I yanked Bella's leash, trying to flee, but the child's voice whispered in my ear, "Don't go." Terrified, I glanced back to see Bella's eyes had turned the same soulless black. The child's giggles turned into maniacal laughter as Bella lunged at me, and I barely escaped with my life. Story 2. The Mysterious Dog Walker. One chilly night, I was walking Luna, a gentle Labrador, through a quiet suburban neighborhood. The street was deserted, and the houses cast long, eerie shadows under the dim streetlights. As Luna and I strolled, I noticed a figure in the distance. It was another dog walker, dressed in a tattered hooded cloak. Luna's hackles rose as we approached, but the figure paid us no mind, walking with a peculiar, lurching gait. I called out a friendly greeting, but the figure didn't respond. Luna whimpered softly. We continued down the street, and I glanced back to see the mysterious walker had disappeared. Unease gnawed at me as I quickened my pace. Luna began to whine, and I felt a presence behind us, but when I turned, there was no one there. We hurried back to my car, and as I locked Luna safely inside, I heard a whispered voice right behind me. "Join us." I spun around, but there was no one there. I drove away, shaken to my core, but Luna's eyes reflected the same eerie, whispering shadows that had pursued us that night. Story 3. The Abandoned Cemetery Walk. I had always enjoyed taking long walks with my dog Max and exploring new places. One day I decided to visit an old, overgrown cemetery nestled deep in the woods, a place rumored to be haunted. Max, my loyal German shepherd, accompanied me. As we entered the cemetery, the atmosphere grew noticeably colder, and the air seemed heavy with an unexplained presence. Mags, typically fearless, kept close to my side, his hackles raised. I laughed nervously, attributing our unease to the eerie surroundings. We ventured deeper into the cemetery, and I noticed that some of the tombstones dated back centuries, their inscriptions barely legible. The place felt forgotten, as if time itself had abandoned it. As I reached out to touch one particularly weathered headstone, a strange sensation washed over me. Suddenly, Max let out a low growl and started barking furiously at a particular grave. I looked down to see that the inscription read, "Here lies Sarah Blackwood, beloved daughter, 1898-1915. Max continued to bark, and then I heard it too, a faint, mournful voice calling my name. Terror coursed through me as I tried to pull Max away from the grave. He resisted, his gaze locked on the headstone. The voice grew louder and more insistent, whispering details about my life and the future. It knew things no one could have possibly known. Panicked, I finally managed to drag Max away, and we ran back through the cemetery. The voice followed us, fading only when we reached the edge of the woods. Max was visibly shaken, and so was I. To this day, I can't explain what happened in that haunted cemetery, but I'll never forget the chilling encounter with a voice from the past that seemed to know me intimately, as if it had been waiting for me to visit Sarah Blackwood's grave all along.